Hey everybody, Marcel Ernie Racing News, February 11th, 2023. So yesterday I did a story from the Donbass Insider about Ukraine openly uses chemical weapons against Russian soldiers and the OPCW remains silent about it. 3 days ago, a commander of the Ukrainian Army Tactical Air Reconnaissance Unit, Robert Mayar, posted a video on his Telegram channel showing several drones, as well as chemical weapon cartridges, some empty, spread on a table, others full, stored in a freezer. These canisters are made to be dropped by drones, which makes these made-in-Ukraine chemical weapons all the more dangerous. And there's a video here and a photo. Let's take a little photo of these drones. They're large drones. I'll show you this video.
Добрий вечір, everybody. Хто знає, що це? Знаєте, що це? Це 100 розірваних пуканів, хробаків.
So again, chemical weapons go against the Geneva Convention. It's a war measure that has been banned across the world, and of course now these Ukrainian soldiers are using them on Russian soldiers, and there is video of that. I did it in the story. It's on Ernie Racing News. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a strike or not from CensorTube, because you really can't show anything from war, even just like drills. You know, like I've had some RT News stuff where it's like just they're doing drills, practicing, nobody's getting shot, nobody's getting injured, and yeah, YouTube's like, nope, we're not going to allow you to show them practicing. But it has gone through on the channel where I physically showed video of them dropping from drones, dropping these chemical weapon canisters. They're essentially a cyanide, chlorine or something is in them, and when you put them in the freezer, it becomes a solid. The first two photos in the Ukraine RU post show the same kind of drone shot down in whatever, Norgoklovich, after it dropped a product on Russian positions that caused vomiting and convulsions in the soldiers. In view of the symptoms caused and the storage conditions of the cartridge shown by Robert Mayar, Ukraine seems to be producing and using cyanide chloride, which is a solid at -7 Celsius, and vaporizes at 13 Celsius, which is listed in the third schedule of the Chemical Weapons Convention. Any production must be declared to the OPCW, used against Russian soldiers. Ukraine has signed this convention. So again, they're not supposed to be using cyanide chloride. I mean, there is video footage of them dropping on it, and I'll show you that. This did not prevent it from detonating a tank filled with nitric acid in Rubenzoynoin in April 22 as the Ukrainian army was withdrawing from the town, effectively carrying out a chemical weapons attack. And Ukraine did not stop there, as on July 31st, 2022, the Russian Ministry of Defense openly announced the use of chemical weapons by Kiev against the Russian troops. And in December 2022, the permanent representative of the Russian Federation to the OPCW stated that Moscow had information about Americans helping Ukraine to prepare chemical provocations. On February 7th, 2023, 2 days after Medyar's video was published, another video appeared in Ukrainian chat rooms showing a drone dropping grenades on Russian soldiers and the horrific agony of one of them drowning in an irrigation canal after convulsions. This video should be watched if your heart is in the right place. Oh yeah, there it is. You know, this video actually might get my channel a problem. We'll come back to that, maybe just a little. Maybe I'll post a link to it instead. But let's go more through it. I wonder if I can fast forward in this video.
Честь! Давайте так, щоб не все показувати. Холодильник я показувати не буду, ну хіба одне відділення. Ну добре, ще одне. Що тут? Правильно, 20 пуканів.
Yeah, there you have it. These guys, so they're breaking the terms of warfare, chemical weapons. And then on Twitter, guys, just take a look. I'll try to show you a little tease of it. Tease of death, essentially. Donbass Devushka at Pelmini Pusha on Twitter. So you can see by this video how sick it is with the music they put to it and everything. It's just, yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Becomes a mist, and then you breathe in the cyanide and you go into convulsions and you are dead. And this is what their Ukrainian soldiers are doing with the drones, flying around, looking above and just dropping them on soldiers out there in the field. So to update to this story is Elon Musk and Starlink. So Starlink has given millions of dollars of free Starlink satellites, all the infrastructure necessary for the people of Ukraine in Ukraine to have internet service. Here it is in front of me. So again, with SpaceX, we sent more than 5,000 Starlink satellite internet dishes to Ukraine in the days after the Russian full-scale invasion last February. And it says it plans to limit the use of the internet portal for what it deems to be offensive military operations. Essentially, Elon is seen by remaining silent and letting them use his technology to use these chemical weapons by controlling the drones. You know, you need internet for the drone, you need internet for the guy who's controlling it. By remaining silent, he would be complicit in the war and breaking the Geneva Convention against using chemical weapons. So it's a good step for Elon. You know, he's trying to have everybody in Ukraine, the citizens, to be able to connect with people, their families, everybody, you know, just information. The internet is very important for information and to stay connected with the people we care about, and of course perform business activities, etc. I go on and I quote, "It was never intended to be weaponized," again, SpaceX, "but the Ukrainians have leveraged it in ways that were unintentional and not part of any agreement," SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell said at a Federal Aviation Administration conference in Washington on this Wednesday. That would have been like the 7th or 8th. "We know the military is using them for comms, and that's okay, but our intent was never to have them use it for offensive purposes such as the drones." Specifically, Shotwell said the military's use of the portals violated user agreements, but she did not provide any details on how Ukraine's military used the systems beyond its drone attacks. You got to also consider, when Elon was giving everybody this internet access, you know, did he sign up to do this for a prolonged, how long was Afghanistan going on? Was it 8 or 20 years? You know, did he sign up to spend millions of dollars to fund this war? No. So, you know, where's the peace talks? Well, the NATO will not allow any peace talks because that's not their aim. Their aim is to disrupt Russia and take control of the pipelines that go through Ukraine. And of course, they all want Putin out of there. They've wanted him out of there for generations. You know, who the real warmongers are is NATO and the USA. You know, I don't know if I can say this on CensorTube, started the war, and Putin is finishing the war. Some would say that was actually a quote. So continuing reading, an advisor to Zelensky, Mikhail Podolsky, tweeted on Thursday that Musk would have to decide whether he was with Ukraine's right to freedom or Russia's will to try to illegally seize sovereign territory. Well, you know, if Zelensky cared so much about the Crimea and Donbass, maybe he shouldn't have been bombing its citizens for the past decade and murdering tens of thousands of ethnic, Russian-speaking Ukrainian people. Maybe NATO should have honored their agreement not to step 1 inch closer to Russia's borders with their military bases. Maybe the USA, Joe Biden, NATO shouldn't sabotage pipelines in the Baltic Sea, which is the biggest environmental impact you could imagine, with all of the methane, natural gas, or whatever's in there, and methane gas going up into the environment at 1 billion tons per hour, or whatever the number is. It is, they care so much about the environment, but then they'll sabotage a pipeline, which essentially is a terrorist act. Joe Biden and the people involved with the USA are actual freaking terrorists. And you know, you always hear every once in a while people joke, it's like they say Russia blew up their own pipeline. Like, I know there's a lot of sheeple out there, and I know there's some people that have no common sense, but I think if anybody really thinks about that ridiculous idea that Russia was going to blow up their own pipeline, how ridiculous that is the pipeline, the gas is what is feeding Russia, is what Russia needs to eat, and it needs money, and by making money and selling its natural gas and oils is how it keeps going with its own war machine and its own people, which is apparently doing really well compared to us in the West and everybody else in Europe under the UN's thumb, who is now having trouble heating their home, trouble getting affordable food, affordable housing, affordable rent. And let alone, like, everybody wants to get the maid service from the liberals so you can die because life is so tough now under the democratic bullshitters. Anyways, guys, I recommend you get over to Ernie Racing News. It's a smaller channel with like 9,000 subscribers, and you can check out the video footage and the news story about the chemical weapons, about the drones dropping these cyanide weapons on soldiers, and I have all the information where to find the full video footage on the telegrams. I am Marcel. February 11th, just doing the news in the morning. Cheers.